might follow her death.
OK, Vitaly Shevchenko from BBC Monitoring Russia, thank you very much indeed. Well, I'm joined now by Yuriy, who is the spokesperson for Ukraine's Ministry of Defence. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. What do you say to those claims by Russia that Ukraine was responsible for the attack on this woman and potentially her father?
Hello, and thank you for inviting me. Of course, we have already said that these claims are nonsensical. These claims have no foundation. Ukraine is not Russia. Ukraine is not, unlike Russia, a terrorist state. We are fighting for our freedom. We are fighting for the European values. The only legitimate targets for the Ukrainian armed forces are the military targets of the enemy. So everything that Russian propaganda says, we don't take it seriously and we disregard it, because just a week ago, we could have all seen claims by Russian propaganda that they have destroyed, all the HIMARS systems in Ukraine. And every week they come up with new set of lies. So whatever happened in Moscow most probably looks like a false flag terrorist operation. But of course, Ukraine, neither Ukrainian army nor Ukrainian special forces, special services have been involved.
When you say false flag terrorist operation, who do you believe is responsible for this attack on Daria Dugina?
We are not in a position to speculate, but we have seen in the past that Russia, as a state aggressor, has used certain provocations which they have orchestrated themselves in order to either justify certain actions, certain atrocities, or in order to, set a pretext for some further actions. So from that perspective, if it is a false flag terrorist operation, then we know who is behind it.
You're saying that Putin would have ordered the killing of the daughter of an ultra-nationalist, someone who's seen as a complete loyalist?
We cannot make any determinate claims to that effect. We can only continue to say, and I will repeat, that Ukraine has nothing to do with what happened in Moscow. And I would like to stress as well, even people who are hateful of Ukraine, and we know that Alexander Dugin, for example, is a Kremlin ideologue who actually has said in the past that Ukrainians must be killed, and killed. But we are a civilized nation who is fighting for freedom, and we understand that for us to win this war, we rely heavily on the international support, which means that we are not in a position to compromise that support by any actions which will be not consistent with the highest civilized standards of combat and warfare.
But can I just be clear, just so that we completely understand your position? If you say that it is a false flag, you're saying that the Russian state itself might have carried out this attack in order to justify very harsh further actions against Ukrainians. Is that what you're saying?
This is something that has been suggested, and Ukrainian side, we do not have access to the scene of the crime, and of course we cannot make any conclusive statements. But if you connect the dots and if you think about the past, then certain conclusions probably can be assumed. Okay.
Obviously, we are still not clear on any facts from either side on this case. But nevertheless, given Independence Day is tomorrow, given the warning from the US, how are you all preparing? Are you braced for further attacks on the centre of Kiev, for example?
Well, yes, as your previous reporter has said correctly, Ukraine and Ukrainians, we've been living in this atmosphere of missile terror, nuclear blackmail for the last 6 months. But of course, tomorrow is a very important day for Ukraine. It's our Independence Day. And, this year it will be of particular importance. Now, in the central Kiev, and authorities have been issuing, of course, warnings asking the citizens to be extra careful during these couple of days when they hear the air raid sirens, which we hear on a daily basis anyway. But authorities are asking to be extra careful now. And in the center of Kiev, as your reporter has already said, there is a military expo 2022 of Russian destroyed equipment. And we hope that the world, those countries who in the past have been interested in buying Russian equipment have seen that, Russian equipment is right there. They wanted a parade on the central street of Kiev. They have their parade. But their tanks are now destroyed, burned by NLAWs, by Stingers, and, they are probably the best, in inverted commas, advertisement for the might of the second largest army in the world.
OK, can I just ask you briefly also, we've had some developments on Zaporizhzhia. Do you believe that it is going to be possible to secure that site, to get some sort of IAEA inspection? Because obviously there are huge fears around any repercussions for safety there.
Of course, we understand that the situation on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which is the second largest in Europe, and of course, should anything, God forbid, happen there, this would be a risk not only to Ukraine, but also to other European countries. And we have seen the continuous buildup of Russian military hardware and equipment on that nuclear power plant. We have seen that Russians have mined the nuclear power plant in the past. We have seen that Russians have shelled the nuclear power plant. And we have said to the international community that Ukraine is open, and Ukraine is insisting, in fact, on the international mitigation of this situation and international involvement, in particular from the International Atomic Agency. So from this perspective, we hope that the international pressure will result in Russia at least not committing anything which can result in a risk of major radioactive disaster in the middle of Europe.
OK, Yuriy, spokesperson for Ukraine's Ministry of Defence, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us on BBC World News. Thank you.
Thanks so much.